What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of 10 Horse Monty YouTube channel. And today we're going to do something that's kind of crazy, something I've been thinking about doing for a long time. Some of you guys might be like, what? Are you out of your mind? But I've really been thinking about this kind of hard the last couple months. And I've decided that today is the day I'm going to delete all of my waypoints off my Gen 2 Touch 12. Kind of old school technology, but I've had this unit since 2013, and I'll just show you some of the waypoints I've got on here. I've got waypoints right here on Cedar Lake. We've got creek channels marked, just got waypoints all over the place. Some of this stuff's still here, some of it's not, some of it's really fresh, some of it's I won't be able to find again. But instead of going through and just kind of hand picking, deleting stuff, I'm gonna delete the whole entire thing and start over. I'm gonna treat this, kind of get rid of history. I mean, I still got an idea of where a lot of this stuff is, but I think the only way I'm gonna be able to get away from it is just delete it all, start new, try to find fresh stuff. And that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna delete all these waypoints. We're gonna go out and try to find some new cover, some new structure to fish, and gonna see if I can catch a fish off that new stuff. So here we go. All right, I've got it on the chart, and I'm gonna go ahead and push this pages menu. It's gonna take me to my waypoints. So I've got waypoints right here. Here's all my waypoints. As soon as I hit this delete all, they will be gone. So here we go. I'm gonna delete them all. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes. They're gone. Boom. Disappeared. Just like that. Folks, that was probably, let me get the sun out of your eyes. That was, like I said, that was from 2013. It's 2020 now. So that's 7 years worth of waypoints, all gone at the touch of a button. And not just this lake, a lot of different lakes. But I kind of got the urge to do it, and I went ahead and did it, and you guys are witness to it. So let's go out and try to find some new structure, see if we can catch a few fish off of it. Kind of walk you through what I do. Okay, I found my first little piece of cover here. It's kind of windy out here. Hope you guys can hear me talking loudly here. But what we've got is a little laydown. Let me shut this motor off. Got a little laydown here on the side scan. I don't know if you can see that. Just a really small laydown. It's sitting out there, in, I don't know, about 10 feet or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just touched that. I'm gonna get it lined up, and I'm gonna come back up here to my menu, and then I'm gonna hit new waypoint. I'm gonna actually move this over. Sometimes it jumps on you, but we're gonna move it over there. A lot of times I'll mark both ends of it. So we've got an end of it right here, and we got another end right here. So I'll hit a waypoint right there, new waypoint. And what I like to do, you got lots of different options, different emojis or whatever you wanna call them, but a lot of times I will just hit this little brush pile, you know, it's a little wood thing. I'll hit that, and then I'm gonna come back up here, and I'm gonna hit the other side of that. There's fish on that too right now. So I'm gonna hit the other side of that. I'm gonna go to menu. I'm gonna move that a little bit again. I'm gonna hit new waypoint. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit more options right here. So this is a note section. You can take notes on this section. So we're gonna type in tree, T-R-E-E. Okay, we got tree up here, and then we're gonna hit this enter. Okay, so now it says tree in our notes. This is our second waypoint, and we're just gonna hit save. Okay, and this is gonna be the symbol that's gonna be designated for our waypoint. You can change the colors if you want. I typically don't. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do tree in, I'm gonna go 10 foot. So that tells me about how deep, that fish is, depending on, you know, the time of the year. And then we're gonna come down here and go save. Okay, so now we're gonna clear. We're gonna look back up here on our chart, and there's our waypoint. There's both of them. So one end of the log, the other end of the log. There's a lot of bait fish around this area too. It's looking good. So that's basically how you do it. It's that simple. Now, another thing I want to show you real quick is we're in the middle of the summertime, and there's a thermocline set up out here. So you've got let me see if I can, let me put the down image on. You can see a little bit better the down image. Here you go, here's a bigger screen. Now you can see, here's your thermocline right here, okay? That thermocline is set up in about 18 foot of water. You've got all this bait just kind of hanging out in that zone. You know, these are predator fish right here, probably crappie. Here's your little shad and stuff. These little blips right here are most likely bass. Like these bigger blips, most likely bass. I'm gonna go back to down scan. Let me see if I can give you a down scan. Here we go. Okay, this is a little bit better. See this fuzziness right here? That's kind of where your thermocline's set up. So it's, you know, right now it's like in 16, 17 foot of water, and it changes. You know, it's been anywhere from like 13 down to like 18. So, you know, here's some little bait balls. We got some stuff coming up here. So let's go try to find some more cover, and then I'm gonna make a few casts and see if we can get some fish on this. All right, here's a perfect example of what a little tree looks like on the side scan right here. You've got your shadow right here, and you've got this is kind of coming out off the drop there. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop a waypoint on that, and see it right there. I'm gonna drop a waypoint on that. I'm gonna go up here to your menu, new waypoint. I'm actually gonna cross this out for a second, discard. I'm gonna come back down here. The waypoint moved on me. This older technology is not as good as the newer technology. We're putting a waypoint on there, new waypoint, and we're gonna just use the brush, which is what I use for any kind of wood for the most part. I'm gonna hit that on there. We've got our waypoint on there. We're just gonna come up here and hit clear cursor. Okay, so let's go look for some more stuff. I'll show you kind of what I'm looking for on the map. Right now, the lake that I'm on, there's a thermocline that's kind of set up in about 14 foot of water. This happens a lot in the summertime. Thermocline is where the warm water reaches a point where it mixes with the cold water, and there's kind of a barrier that happens. Typically, the clearer the lake, the deeper the thermocline is, and that thermocline will set up, I've seen it set up as soon as like early June, and as long as there's not a lot of wind or rain, it's gonna kind of sit there, and it'll fluctuate up and down a couple of feet just depending on the water temperature. Like today out here, we got wind, so we haven't had a lot of wind in a while. We've got a north wind blowing, and the thermocline is kind of starting to break up. It's not as defined. It's still down there. It's a little bit deeper, but it's not as hard as it's been the last couple weeks. So the fish will scatter a little bit. Typically, when you got a thermocline set up at 14 feet of water, the deepest those fish are gonna be is 14 foot of water, because they don't have the oxygen content. They like the cold water, and that thermocline, below that thermocline, the water is cooler, but it just doesn't have the oxygen that those fish need to survive. I mean, they can dip down in it for a short period of time, but they're typically gonna be, when that water is in the 80s or so, and they're wanting to be out deeper, they're typically gonna be right on that thermocline. So what you do is you scan the lake in that depth range. You know, we talked about 14 foot. So what I'm looking for is any kind of cover and structure that's ideal for the bass, and it's gonna be in that 12 to 14 foot range. That's kind of what I'm keying on. So you're looking for brush piles, big boulders, rock piles, any kind of little drop-offs, points that kind of drop off at that 12 to 14 foot zone. So let's look at this lake map here, and I'll show you kind of just what to key on. So let me zoom it in here. So you've got all these main lake points right here. You know, you got a main lake point here. This is kind of a rounded out point, but if I back out a little bit, you got a main lake point, main lake point, main lake point. You got a hump out here. Now this hump's pretty obvious. What I would do on this hump is I'm gonna be scanning this area right here. I'm just gonna kind of circle this thing. You know, you kind of got a flat right here. You got kind of a saddle, but you can see 12 foot, you can see 14 foot, 16 foot. There's a little underwater point right there. So I'm gonna kind of just drive my boat around this area right in here with my side scan, my down scan, my 2D, and I'm gonna look for any kind of brush piles or cover, you know, and I'm just gonna mark it. You know, I'll hit that, and then I'll run out here and I'll drive across this point. I may come in a little bit. Sometimes the fish will get inside of these little cuts slightly, and then I'll run and hit this point. And that point, it's pretty straightforward. You know, it takes a lot of time. This is a nice looking point here. Any kind of cover that you find or structure that looks interesting and it has potential. And what you really need to do is you need to find plenty of slightly offshore structure. You need to find lots of offshore structure in different sides of the lake, depending on which way the wind is blowing. Those areas will come into play. So you got a north wind, you got south wind that's going on right now. The north wind is actually, but you need to have stuff that's on the north side of the lake, stuff that's on the south side, points that are facing north, points that are facing east, west, just stuff that you can key on for those days that there is wind. A lot of times in the summer there's not a lot of wind, so it just becomes a matter of running your best stuff. But if you've got a day where the wind is blowing in a certain direction, you definitely want to be keying in on that stuff, because those fish, the shad will kind of push up on there. You know, what happens is the plankton that the shad, I guess that's plankton, isn't it? Back to algae, plankton, yeah. Anyway, the stuff that the shad eat is kind of drifting around out there, and whichever way that wind's blowing, it has a tendency to drift over to that side of the lake. So that's going to cause the shad to kind of migrate that way, and then of course your predator fish are going to migrate that way. It's just it's a chain of life going on. So wind is your friend. So you need to have spots in all places on the lake to take advantage of those windy days. Another thing you want to do, I'll show you real quick, is I like to set up a trail. So you go to your charts here. Okay, you're in your main charts. Go back to your menu, and right here is your trails. Okay, you hit your trail button. It's going to come up like this. I'm going to delete my old trail, so I hit delete all, delete. Okay, and you come up with this right here. Come on, baby. You're going to hit your new trail and then save. So this is a new trail that is just for this day. If you're fishing multiple days and you want to keep track of, you know, where you're fishing and where you've covered at, that's fine. But I would suggest going to the color and changing the color. You can do black one day, red one day, blue one day. You know, if you're fishing a multiple day tournament, or you're just doing some pre-fishing and you kind of want to cover stuff but you can't quite remember what you've covered and what you haven't, I would suggest leaving your trails on there and just changing the color. Black, always black, and blue and red, stuff that pops out a little bit. But set up a trail, and when you're scanning, you can see everywhere that you've scanned. You can see every point. A lot of times you can double back and just slide out about 50 yards from that point, or from that trail, and make another trail down there. That's a good way to cover area. Just keep going back and forth until you feel comfortable that you've covered all that you need. So I'm gonna go and try to find a few more spots, and then we're gonna make a few casts. I haven't made a cast yet. I've just been out here kind of scanning around. So the wind's blowing. I know the fish are shallow, but we're gonna try to pull off the bank and try to catch some fish. Look at all this activity out here. Got this ball shad, got some bigger fish chasing it. Looks like probably crappie. Got some more stuff coming up here. The side scan's just littered with all kinds of activity. Check this screenshot out. It's a ball shad, and you got some, move this over here, you got some predator fish there, kind of stalking. See them right here. It's probably looking like crappie, maybe small bass. I don't know, it's hard to tell sometimes. But these bay fish are definitely getting pushed around. Okay, I found some interesting looking brush here. I'm getting ready to mark it on my graph. You can see here on the side scan, I've got it paused, but there's a group of little brush piles right here, and here's on my down scan, and then here's what it looks on the 2D. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap this little cursor right here, and this tells me it's in about 13 feet. So I'm gonna go up here to my menu, and I'm gonna hit new waypoint. Okay, I'm gonna move this back down a little bit. Let's see, let's discard this. This Gen 2 stuff doesn't work like the new stuff. It's a little bit crusty. So anyway, I move that over. New waypoint, we're still here. I'm gonna go to more options, and I'm gonna type in brush pile, B-R-U-S, just brush. And then I'm gonna put 13 feet. That way I'll know that this is about 13 feet. You know, the lake's gonna fluctuate a little bit, but that's gonna get me close. I'm just gonna go enter, and I'm gonna use my brush icon, which is right there. And then I'm gonna hit save. And there's the new waypoint. There's a couple of them down here, but I'll just mark one, but that's what I marked right there. Okay, I pulled up here on this first waypoint I marked. This is 003 right here. Got a little bit of wood right here. So I'm gonna make a few casts on this and see what happens. There's a bite. God, what's going on? I thought that fish had it. All right, let's cast out there. Get that waypoint lined up. So we can get a bite. It's kind of windy out here. Hope this audio is okay. Okay, I'm running down that lay down right now. I can feel it. There's another bite. I'm gonna let him eat it a little bit. Just not wanting to take it. Okay, we're getting close to that waypoint that I marked earlier. It's just a piece of, it's like a lay down out in about 10 foot of water. I'm trying to make a few casts across that. There were fish on it earlier. So I'm gonna get out off the bank a little bit. See if we can get one of those fish to bite. Yeah, it's got a bite. Just kind of tick that piece of wood. Got him. There we go. It's a good fish, I think. Ain't that big. Yeah, you did. That fish. There we go, guys. A big worm. Boom. Nice fish. Solid fish. Solid fish on the big worm. And that was right on that piece of cover that we just marked. There we go, guys. That came off that very first waypoint that we marked. Just a little small lay down out off the bank in about, I don't know, 10, 12 foot of water. Just throwing this big worm. Nice fish. You know, it's pretty straightforward, guys. Just get out there. Don't be scared of your electronics. Idle around that thermocline area. Look for any kind of cover, any kind of wood, rock, drop-offs, and you'll see the fish sitting there. Just run around, mark you several waypoints, and then go back and fish them, and you can catch a nice, decent fish like that. So, hey, thanks for coming along. Please subscribe if you have not. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hit that bell notification. Share it on social media. Until next time, nice little offshore fish. Summertime, fish are out. Got a windy day like this, there might be some up shallow, but you can still catch them out deeper. So, thanks for coming along.